Good afternoon, folks. I hope everybody is doing well. This is David here with New Blog Hosting, and what I want to talk to you about today is how to make your staging site so that we make the folks over at Mediavine happy, which some of you deal with, and some of you are dealing with the Trellis theme and getting the Trellis theme installed. And part of what they're asking you for is a staging site and an FTP account. Well, here at New Blog Hosting, we make that just as easy as we possibly can. And what I want to show you today is how to accomplish those items. Now, before we get into it, I have chosen a very small account that we use for testing purposes. So you're going to see some things in here that don't necessarily apply to you. And if you do, I will point those out and you can substitute your website accordingly. The first thing we're going to do is make the FTP account. And let me just say up front, this FTP account will be deleted just as soon as this video is complete. So any prospective hackers out there, it's not going to be here. Don't try it. Now, the first thing we want to do is we assume that you're logged into your control panel at New Blog Hosting, or cPanel to some of you. To get that information, it's part of your welcome letter that you got when you signed up with New Blog Hosting. You should have that username and password to be able to log in. If you need that username and password, just submit a ticket to support@newbloghosting.net or just log into the billing panel at my.newbloghosting.net. And we will be more than happy to get that to you. All right, here we go. Once you're in your control panel, you've got your search bar up here at the top. Make sure you see that. That's the easy way to navigate all this business down here that may confuse some of you. Now, in this case, you do see FTP accounts is right here, but what we're going to do is go FTP. Now that narrows it down for you. You can click FTP accounts. That loads up. Now don't let any of this confuse you. Here's a good suggestion. The login, let's make it theme. 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 That's the domain you want it. You want it for. So your website domain would be here. Go ahead and use the password generator. Make sure you write that down. Make sure you write this down. Click that you have. Click use password. See, that is filled in for you. Now, here's the tricky part, and the only tricky part to this. You want to make sure that Mediavine has access to the public HTML directory and everything under it. That means they can get to your entire website as well as your staging website. So what you do here is you see it created a theme name which matches the login name up here. So back this up all the way to here. Public HTML. If you leave the directory there, that ensures that Mediavine gets full access to everything that's in your website. You can back it up one more and take this out completely. But all of your content for your website is stored inside of public HTML. So as long as they can get there, they should be able to get to everything they need. You click Create Account. There you see the account is created. Now scroll down. You can ignore some of these others here. They're going to be removed later. Now, we created one called theme. Now, it should be listed right here for you. There's more than one or two created here. So we have theme. See it? Theme at ncwisp.net under FTP accounts. Now, this would be yours. So if it's theme at jamesblog.com or theme at yourblog.com, configure FTP client. This would be the information, not this information, for your website. When you click configure FTP account, copy and paste this information to give to Mediavine and make sure you give them the password that you set when you created the account. Again, let me repeat. Make sure you give this information under configure FTP account to the folks at Mediavine along with the password that you created using the password generator for the FTP account. That covers step 1. Now, step 2, click back up here to get back home. Right there. You've got to create that staging environment that they ask for. They use the staging environment to sometimes test their work before installing it on your primary website. Now, let me just throw in a quick note here. Creating this staging environment can also be used when you need a staging environment for your designer, a second copy of your website, you need to test something, etc. So in order to do that, start typing in WordPress, W-O-R-D, up here in the search bar, right here. See WordPress Manager by New Blog Hosting. And before we do that, let's make it a little easier and let's create the subdomain. So let's do, it's actually saves you a step doing it this way. So let's do subdomain because you want something staging dot. And I'm sorry for the confusion. I'll clean it up. Before we go into the WordPress Manager, it's easier to go ahead and create that staging domain. Make sure you do this. So what you have, you're creating the FTP account like we just did. You're getting ready to create the subdomain. The subdomain is something like staging.yourdomain.com. Staging.yourdomain.com. You can name it anything you want. So let's go create that subdomain. You see subdomains here. We typed SUB in the search bar here. Subdomain. Let's call it staging 2. And the reason I say that, I know I've already got one called staging. So let's call it staging 2. And click down here. Let this fill in. You don't have to worry about this. It's just letting you know where it's going to put it. And you click create. It'll take just a minute here to create the staging. There we go. So we have staging2.ncwisp.net. That will be the address to your staging site right here. Of course, it'll be whatever your domain is. So if it's Jane's blog, it's staging2.janesblog.net. Now, you've got that done. Now, let's go back to the WordPress Manager here. WORD up here in the search bar. WordPress Manager by New Blog Hosting. Now, here are all the WordPress installs on your account. Now, if you don't see yours, come up here to scan and let it scan for the installs. Give it a minute. Now, mine are already in there. So let's back up. All right, since mine were already in there, there was none found. But if yours are not listed here, then you'll need to do the scan as I did above. Scan right here. Now, you should have just your site listed in here. The site you're making the staging environment for is your main site. So see, I said we were using ncwisp.net at the beginning of the video. If it was something else, it would be your site right here. See this? This would be what your site or whatever site you're making the staging environment for. All right, you come over here. You got a drop-down menu right here. You have staging. All right, now this is where things get tricky. You noticed I clicked staging just before. The site you want to clone is right here. This would be your website. Now, where do you want it to go? Pay very close attention. Choose the subdomain that you created. Now, remember I said I created staging 2 right here. This would be whatever you created as a subdomain in the step before. You don't have to worry with the database name. I suggest you click this to disable search engine visibility. The reason you do that, you don't want Google seeing that you have a clone out there and docking you for that. So, database name you need not change. And you simply create staging and let our servers do the rest. It will check the information and give it a minute, copies the files, and copies the database. Now, notice this says it may take 3 to 4 minutes. Please do not leave this page until it reaches 100%. Now, the size of your site will determine how long this takes. It may take 2 minutes, may take 5 minutes, may take a little longer. But make sure you do not leave this screen until you get a message. Congratulations, the staging was created successfully. It tells you exactly where it is, right here. It tells you how to log in. Now, your login will be the same as your main site login. It will be the exact same. All logins are the same for staging sites. So, let's just go check it out. Make sure it did it correctly. Make sure you write this down. Some of you might want to write this down and make this easy for yourselves. And just remember once more, the admin for your main site and the admin for your staging site are indeed the same. So let's just go check it out. Let's make sure it looks the same. All right, see, we got staging site, staging 2. Now let's for just to show that it worked, let's go check out the main site. See, this is the main site. See, both sites are the same. Staging and main. Staging and main. Staging and main. Now you can go back to cPanel You're done with your staging site. What I would like to do with you is give you a little bit of a recap as to what we did. Let's go all the way back to cPanel, which is right here. Go back home. Now, the first thing we did was we created the FTP account. We did that right here. We called it Theme, if you recall. Now, I'm going to go ahead and delete this so you guys see that it has been deleted. Don't delete the user's home directory. Do not delete the user's home directory, or that will delete your site. Do not delete the user's home directory, or that will delete your site. That will be a problem. So delete here. That is gone. We created the subdomain. And you remember it's under subdomains. It's right here under staging 2. And then we ran the staging site setup tool under WordPress Manager by New Blog Hosting. We chose our site. We used the drop-down menu. And we chose staging right down here. Now, some of these other options we will talk about later. You can create your own backups here. You can restore here. We'll talk about that in a later video. That is a neat feature that has recently been added. You can also set your automatic updates. We'll talk about that later as well. But we used the staging option for this case. Right here, we chose our staging site that we set up as a subdomain, which was what? Staging 2, remember? Make sure you choose this option and you create the staging environment and wait, and it's created for you as you see here. Now, of course, substitute your domain for the one that we're using, and you'll be good to go. Again, if you need help, send us a ticket. We'll be more than happy to help you at New Blog Hosting. We do a lot of hands-on work. But if you've got cPanel and you've got Softaculous installed, this could apply for a lot of other hosts as well. Theirs may be a little different than ours, but it's all pretty much the same, and that is really the easiest way to do it. So again, if you need help, let us know. Send us a note, support@newbloghosting.net, or you can come over here to sign in and submit yourself a ticket at my.newbloghosting.com. We will be happy to help you. If you have any questions, just let us know. Take care, everybody. This is David from New Blog Hosting. Have a great day. Bye-bye.